Hello and welcome to MOSO Conversations with host President Dean Van Galen. Each episode is a conversation between Dr. Van Galen and guests from Missouri Southern State University, covering topics of student experience, academic achievement, and more. And now our host, Dr. Dean Van Galen.
Well, welcome to MOSO Conversations. I'm Dean Van Galen, president of Missouri Southern State University, and this is a program in which we every month highlight something special and unique and exciting about Missouri Southern. This version of MOSO Conversations will focus on internships. Internships, of course, are a wonderful opportunity for our students. Many times we refer to it as a high-impact practice, something that can take students beyond or in conjunction with their classroom experiences to often shape their views of a career and provide them employment opportunities. So today we are focusing on internship. I have some wonderful guests, including Mr. Alex Gandy, who is the director of our Career Services office here at Missouri Southern. I'll ask each of our guests to introduce themselves a bit more. And then we have Alexander Alekine, who's one of our students. And then also joining us by phone today is Madison Faring, who's in charge of talent acquisition at Leggett & Platt. So I'll start with Alex. If you would introduce yourself, say a little bit about what you do. We'll go around, and then I think we'll circle back to Mr. Alex Gandy to speak a bit more about internships.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate you allowing me to be here. Again, my name is Alex Gandy. I'm the Director of Career Services at Missouri Southern. I've worked at Missouri Southern now almost 10 years, just shy of 10, about 9.5 years here, in various different roles. And every step along the way, from my journey in admissions through academic advising and now in career services, I've always just greatly valued equipping students with professional skills to ultimately find their dream job or their career. And internships has been a critical piece of that. And I'm incredibly thankful and humbled by my job on a daily basis that I get to work with students as they pursue different careers. And so I'm here excited today to talk about internships.
Fantastic. Thanks, Alex. And now Alexander, or Alex.
Yeah, I go by Alex is fine. Yeah, Alexander is more formal. But my name is Alexander, or Alex Alekine. I'm an IET student, Industrial Engineering Technology in Southern. Been here for quite a while. It's been a long journey. I'm coming to an end here in May. But yeah, my goal is to finally get a career, and internship is something that definitely progressed me toward that. And I'm actually interning right now with a company called Olson. So they're an engineering design firm. And I've been with them for a year now, since last February.
That's great. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. And then Madison, if you could say a little bit about yourself and your role at Leggett & Platt.
Gladly. Yeah, so this is Madison Faring, and I've been with Leggett for the past 4 years. Actually, started in an internship there myself after wrapping up my HR program at Missouri Southern. And so I've been excited to work in the talent acquisition arena for those entire 4 years at Leggett, and really came full circle from being an intern to now managing the internship program. So it's been a really good experience, and I'm excited to be here on the call today and talk to you guys about internships.
Thanks very much for joining us, Madison. And I'm intrigued with the title or the phrase talent acquisition, because in a way, we often think of getting a first job and preparing students, but that phrase is a little bit broader, and part of a university's role is to develop talent in our students and prepare them for not just that first job, but an entire career. So it's really great to have your perspectives today. So I'll turn to Mr. Alex Gandy and ask him to speak a little bit about internships, especially at Missouri Southern. How does that work? What are your experiences and perspectives on that? Anything you'd like to share, Alex?
Thank you, Dr. Van Galen. In the internship programming here at Missouri Southern, I'm really thankful to work alongside a lot of great faculty. A few years back, when I first got into this role of Director of Career Services, I was able to work with our Vice President of Academic Affairs and sit on an internship task force. And so we were able to put together, it was kind of a little bit of the wild, wild west, if I were to admit, years back. But thankfully, working alongside some really great faculty from each of the various colleges here at Missouri Southern, we were able to put together just some expectations both for the student and the employer. It is always a really fun experience to sit down with whether it's a faculty member or an employer and start an internship from the ground up. But what I think is so important is that those internships are learning experiences. Whether an internship is paid or unpaid, let's set that aside in one bucket. The one primary focus I want students to have in the midst of an internship is for them to learn, for them to be taking concepts and principles that they are growing in throughout their curriculum and being able to apply that to specific professional experiences. And then what I really enjoy watching is a student find some mentorship opportunities through interning, whether that is through their direct supervisor or whether that is through peers amongst an internship program like at an organization like Leggett and Platt. But internships are critically vital in helping a student learn to demonstrate some of the skills that they're gaining in the classroom. And that's one of the things that if I could have one key piece of information for any student I encounter in the Career Services office is that internships aren't just resume building experiences, but they're opportunities for them to demonstrate their knowledge and their skills. So I love internship programming. I could talk about it all day.
That's great. And, one question that comes to mind, here we are in the middle of a pandemic, right? And so I'd really be curious to get your perspective on the impact of that during for internships.
Sure. And I'd really want to hear from Madison on that question too. But I think I'd say that I'm going to answer that question in twofold. One, we did experience throughout the spring of 2020. I watched multiple employers really strive to pivot and be flexible so that they didn't have to completely discontinue internship programming. That did happen amidst our 4-state employers, but more and more employers, I would say the majority, tried to pivot in some way, maybe taking that internship to a virtual environment or maintaining the internship, but maintaining it at a socially distanced environment or a masked environment. But COVID-19 has tried to disrupt the internships programming we have here at Missouri Southern, but I would say overwhelmingly, those internships have maintained. Even as we saw a slight dip, Hire Align is our online job board, and so we're regularly tracking the metrics of internships posted on Hire Align, and we saw a slight dip throughout April and May and June, but almost as soon as July hit, as people started to find some norms related to COVID-19 and the pandemic, internship programming ramped back up.
That's great to hear, and I have to especially thank you for your efforts and creativity during this time. We're all of our jobs are a bit different. We're finding new ways to help our students. So thanks for doing that. Speaking of students, let's turn to Alex, who's here representing students, and we'd love to hear about your internship experience and perhaps what you've gained, what your thoughts are on internships.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it was definitely a blessing when that happened. As far as, I guess a blessing, the curse for COVID-19. The company that I'm interning with, I don't know if you're all familiar with it, the Olson. So they're primarily a design firm, meaning they're house more intellectual or knowledge workers, they call them, versus production. You're not producing anything physical. It's more conceptual design, and then you hand it off to the company. So we're a consultant. So primarily, most of the work, 99% of it, I'd say, is done on the computer with some kind of collaborative environment, whether it's Teams. I know Southern uses Zoom or Blackboard Collaborate, a lot of those different things. So when all that occurred, we were still able to continue moving forward, actually probably at a greater pace, and continue producing projects and working on them. And granted, my internship is paid, which is a good thing. In a way, when that whole pandemic happened, I was still able to have some funding and coming in. It was really nice, and I was actually able to focus more so on internship when that happened because the school went online. I was furloughed from work, my other work, and then the internship still allowed me to, learn. The money was nice as well, but I kept moving forward. And with that one, definitely a learning curve because it was way out of my scope, and I felt like I was extremely unqualified. So whenever I went for the initial interview, the gentleman that interviewed me, they said, as long as you're willing to learn, we're willing to have you. And that was definitely a good thing. So here I am a year later. I actually got a job offer, which I accepted with them starting in May after I graduate. So it's been a good thing. Thank you.
That is fantastic, and that's a story that we hear quite a bit. You internship for a company, and it's an opportunity for you as a student to explore what you're interested in, and then an opportunity for the employer to test drive you in a way, and that can often lead to some great opportunities. So, well, good. Seems like the right time to turn to Madison, who's on the business or corporate side of the internship equation, and I think we'd love to hear about Leggett and Platt's perspective on this, how you organize your internships, and just tell us about your view of internships in your role, please, Madison.
Yeah, absolutely. So internships, I think, are a really good, just mutually beneficial experience, both for us as a company and for students. And so really the things that we highlight about internships and really encourage students to take full advantage is just the whole experience of, the day-to-day work life of the career that you're looking to go into. And so, understanding what you would be doing as well as what you like and what you don't. Sometimes an internship is just as valuable finding out that you didn't like an experience as it is if you find out that you loved it. And so internships are a really, really great opportunity. Like you mentioned earlier, for companies to sort of test drive you as a student to understand, how you work and what you enjoy working on. And also for you, like I said, to test drive the company and understand if it's a culture that you like, if the team is something that you enjoy working in that sort of environment, if the work is something that you like, and oftentimes gives you an opportunity to try sort of a short-term experience that you can do multiple times. So I certainly always encourage students, especially like in areas like accounting comes to mind, where there's so many different career options, and there's public accounting and private accounting, and there's financial, and there's internal audit, and there's tax, and so many disparate career opportunities that you can really try 3 or 4 different things in your time in school and really have a good understanding of what you actually want to go into and start when you step into a career.
Curious to know how you connect with students, potential internships. Is that often through career services? Is it with faculty? How do those relationships, how are they formed? And how do we go from a student being interested in internship to having that opportunity?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So certainly we work really closely with the career services groups. I know Alex mentioned Hire or Lion. Certainly when we're posting internships, we're spreading them out to all of our college boards that we have university relationships with. And so all of those connections where students turn is sort of where we want them to turn and see us. And so, on-campus events, career fairs, a lot of times we'll do, the on-campus information sessions or class opportunities and things of that nature as well. And so really through a wide variety of different channels, we try to get connected with students. So if students are interested in looking for internships, they should be able to find us pretty easily as sort of the path that we take mentally. And so really, I think another good option for students also is job shadows. Which offers them the opportunity to see a wide variety of things in a very short amount of time, but also allows them to get to know people within the career that they're looking to get into. And so some of those relationships and just networking through some of those experiences are also really helpful to sort of get a foot in the door before internships are available in that area.
That's a great perspective. And, you mentioned that at times an internship can lead to a realization that a student does not necessarily want to go in that direction, and there's tremendous value in that as well. One topic I'd like to ask about, I'll start with Alex Gandy here. Often when we think of internships, we think of engineering or accounting, perhaps some of the more career-focused or oriented professions. But of course, many students major in a range of majors, the liberal arts and others, and I think sometimes there's a perception that, well, there aren't internships for that diverse set of majors. I'd love to hear some perspectives on that, Alex.
Thanks for asking about that, Dr. Van Galen. I was actually recently working with a a recruiter who from a Fortune 500 company down the road in Arkansas. And they had a public relations internship opportunity, and they specifically asked me like, "Hey, who do you have? Maybe I'm looking for somebody in social sciences or somebody from English or liberal art," because they understand that those specific students, although they don't immediately may think of a large corporation like a Leggett and Platt or somebody like a Walmart or JB Hunt, those students read and write extremely well, and that is. As basic as that may sound as a critical skill, those companies greatly value that. And the way that those students can synthesize information quickly and disseminate information accurately is incredibly valued. So one of those, I would say, challenges that I have as a career services director is helping a student who's maybe graduating in English or a student who's graduating with history, and maybe they don't want to go on and pursue a graduate degree program, but they are looking for a career path, helping them broaden their understanding through challenging them to pursue maybe a internship at a Leggett and Platt, where they may not understand what corporate culture can offer them, but their skill sets that has been embedded within their curriculum is incredibly valuable. And something that I really appreciate about our faculty is that they push students in that direction, is that they help them, one, feel confident about their skill sets, and whether that's about verbal communication and presentation skills, about writing or about research, or having good analytical skills, but that can apply to a wide variety of industry. That's one of the challenges as far as advertising those type of internship opportunities and helping a student be confident that they bring a value to those experiences.
I think that's really well stated, very insightful. Madison, what would your perspective be on that question?
Yeah, I would very similarly to what Alex said. I think that college in general offers you a really great experience that can be really helpful in a wide variety of different arenas. So even just, having the ability to meet deadlines, to juggle a variety of class loads and different, fields of study, and being able to communicate and, just balance that wide variety of different things that you learn throughout that college experience, for sure, no matter what industry you're looking to go into or what career field degree field you're in, you can bring skills and experience to the table. And so certainly, just like Alex said, I would encourage everybody to look for internship opportunities. Sometimes internships are specific, like you said, Dr. Van Galen, to, an engineering field or an accounting degree. And sometimes they're not. So just keep your eyes open and certainly just look for the opportunities. And if there aren't internships that you're interested in, reach out to Career Services about job shadows. We don't technically have a formalized job shadow program at Leggett. So the way that it works for us is when Alex or somebody from Southern Career Services office reaches out to us asking if we have somebody or a group of people in an environment that could help a student with that, I'll reach out to those folks and we'll put it together. And so if you are interested in an area that you can't find an internship in, reach out to Career Services and they'll reach out to their network and through, whoever in whichever environment is able to make, that job shadow that you're looking for happen, we can certainly make it happen. So just reach out to your network and utilize your career services group.
Absolutely. Totally concur on that.
That's great. We're here with MOSO Conversations talking about internships today, and I think I'll turn to our student and see if, Alex, you would like to share any specific experiences or projects that you have worked on as part of your internship. Maybe tell us about that and why you think that was impactful or enjoyable.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Van Galen.
Sure.
So with Olson, when I came on, they're a broad spectrum engineering firm. So they do everything from civil, structural, industrial, electrical, mechanical, but more so, again, they're more like the knowledge worker. You're designing a concept, and then the concept then gets passed down to the customer, say, whether it is, Leggett and Platt, it could be Liberty Utilities, Evergy, whatever on. So my particular team now, it's power delivery. What we do is we do line engineering and substation design. So something like that is a very specific niche market and is not taught in any schools really. Not that I'm sure it is in some level, but from the people that I work with, I work, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, they did not learn any of that in school. So a lot of it was learned hands-on. What they did learn in school was the ideas and learning how to learn. So you come in with a certain mindset and you absorb as much information you can, and you're able to progress forward. And you apply, you slowly build onto it. That's what I had to do, because I came in very scared initially because it's very overwhelming. I'm a guy, my degree, great degree, but it's not specific, because this degree teaches about quality, lean, manufacturing, primarily focused because we're in this area in an industry. But those same ideas and concepts, you can still apply to almost anything. So necessarily a physical product, but you can also do an intellectual product when you combine it. So you can always improve upon processes. And more importantly, it's the thought process on how you handle situations. So that's why I came in. I took it all in. It was very overwhelming at first, but it was, and it has been a very great experience so far. So, me a year ago and me today is completely different people as far as understanding the concepts and how to do something and why something works. So far it's been a great experience. So anybody is looking at an internship and they may be scared or intimidated a little bit, you still should dive in, because you'll learn more within that experience than a classroom would teach you. Classroom teaches you theoretical concepts, but nothing where you should dive in with both feet and get your feet wet and progress on.
I think that's a great point. And, back to the earlier conversation about internships in areas such as liberal arts, part of college is learning how to learn. There's no way in the world that a university can teach you, all the knowledge and exact skills you'll need throughout a career. All of that changes anyway. But, the ability to immerse yourself in a new environment, use the tools that you have, and maybe even struggle for a little while is part of what we're about. So I'll turn to Madison, and I guess, just anything, other perspectives you would have for our students on internships, maybe some programs at Leggett and Platt. How do you orient new students or interns? Any other programs that you have related that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, so Alex actually just touched on something that sparked something in me too, that, if you are coming into, this conversation, or, you're thinking about internships, but you're kind of afraid and just don't quite know, if you should apply, where you would apply, those sort of things, I would just encourage you to be really open-minded, just because, we as an employer, I can only speak for Leggett and Platt, but I'm almost sure other employers, we don't expect interns to come in knowing everything they're going to need to know for the role. We understand that it's a learning experience, and that's something that we're prepared to train for. And so our internships have very robust sort of team environments that we put interns in, so they're never just on their own. They always have people to ask questions to. We really, really, really encourage interns to ask questions. Because we want to make sure that we understand what you're enjoying, and what might be confusing to you, where you need a little bit more training, where you would like to spend a little bit more time in, and those sort of things. And so just coming in and asking questions and not being afraid of sort of the whole experience, because we recognize that you don't have all the experience under the belt. That's part of what the internship is for, to get that experience for you. And so I would just highly encourage people to look at things that might scare them, that might be out of their comfort zone, because that's exactly what we want to help with. In terms of just, I know you mentioned Dr. Van Galen, the orientation and coming into those environments. At Leggett specifically, we have an internship program to help interns get settled into the workforce. And so that program features a wide variety of different development events on the soft skills side, because we do have interns in a wide variety of different arenas that range from, the technical side of engineering and IT, as well as marketing and HR and accounting and things of that nature. And so our internship program takes all of those groups together, and we have networking opportunities among the interns, as well as other professionals at Leggett, like you mentioned, the development events to really help build up the soft skills side of things. And then we always want to make sure that interns are really just settling in and comfortable in the workforce and in the environment. So we have what we call ambassadors, where they can ask questions to outside of just their job-related specific tasks. So some of our interns in the past, have asked things like, is it okay if I wear like red pants? Is that, acceptable in the culture? And things you might not want to ask your boss, but just, to help you get acclimated, in particular to Leggett's culture, but really the workforce as a whole. And so we want to make sure that whole experience is really well-rounded, and interns never feel like they're just on their own. And so that's something that we've poured a lot of time and energy into, and we've been really excited about continuing to improve over the years.
Clearly have an awesome, well thought out internship program, and the development of those soft skills and networking. I'm certain that is a great experience for the students in that program. Now, are most of your internships during the academic year round, summer only? How does that tend to work at Leggett?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So some of our internships are summer only, and that's really where we focus on bringing in students from schools that aren't as close as Southern is. But we certainly do have a lot of opportunity during the semester as well. And, specifically, 2020 taught us a lot about, creative work environments. And so some of our roles previously had allowed for interns that weren't local to continue working with us remotely during the semester, if that was something that they were open to and we were open to. I think this year especially, there's been a lot more remote work opportunities. But certainly, working through the semester is something that we're always open to if it's a match for us and a match for the students. And so I think that will just continue to grow as the opportunities to take some work experience back to the semester, or back to the school rather, will be something that we'll continue to pursue in the future.
Well, one interesting aspect of this that you've kind of alluded to is the retention of talent. So there's a lot of conversation in Joplin, and I think many areas, how do we better retain the talent that is from here? And that involves many things. How do we hold up Missouri Southern as a great option for our students? How do we connect with our regional employers to keep the talent in this part of the state and four-state region? I'm, again, curious with Leggett and Platt, are many of your internships, do they involve students from Southwest Missouri, or is it more of a state or national type of footprint that might even bring people to this region from other parts of the state or country?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. Certainly, most of our student population is local to the area. That being said, I would say maybe about 30 or so percent of them are not, and we bring them in and from all over the place. It just depends, year to year. And so, that being said, sometimes they aren't from here, but they've gone to school here. And so through their time at Southern, we've met them through some of those different on-campus events and things of that nature that I mentioned earlier. And so, sometimes they decide to stay here because they had a great experience at Southern or one of our local schools and at Leggett, and have decided to stay in the area from that experience. And so, I think it's a multifold answer. We love when somebody can make Joplin their home, and we love when people who are from here can keep Joplin as their home. But I think one of the great things about many companies in our area, and Leggett included, is that we do have the opportunity to send people, to different assignments and to different locations for traveling, but they can always come back home. And so, I think that there's a lot of experiences, really just depending on what students are looking for. If they want to stay here, if they want to go somewhere, for traveling, or if they want to go on assignment somewhere for a couple of years. But certainly, there's a lot of different pools and ties that can keep students in the area if they want to be here.
Well, Platt, I want to thank all the employers and businesses and nonprofits that partner with the university to provide our students with internships. Certainly grateful for Alex Gandy and his work, and our faculty who are often involved in making those connections. So I think we're almost to the end here, but I want to give our student Alex kind of the last word. And maybe the question is, what advice would you give to students who might be thinking about an internship?
If you look at the description, don't be intimidated, because a lot of times it's very vague and they'll teach you on the job. So if you think you're remotely interested, apply, and you may even get the interview, and then you may get the internship. So don't be afraid. Move forward.
Sounds like go for it. Thank you. Well, thank you, Alex and Madison for joining today for MOSO Conversations. I think a great conversation about internships, their impact on students, on businesses, our region. And thanks again, everyone, and have a great day.
This has been another episode of MOSO Conversations with host President Dean Van Galen. To listen to other episodes and to stay up to date with information from Dr. Van Galen, visit his blog at president.mssu.edu.